General of the Army Douglas MacArthur in his 84 years became a towering figure of legend and fact. Serving under presidents from McKinley to Kennedy as advisor, he had not one but many careers almost unparalleled in military annals. The son of a general who was the highest ranking officer in the Army, young Douglas MacArthur was graduated from West Point with an average grade of over 98. In World War I, he was, as major, selected for the Army's General Staff and helped to create the famed Rainbow Division. At 38, the youngest general in the Army was presented with the Distinguished Service Cross by General Pershing. A portrait of the time shows the young MacArthur with the bearing and appearance that made him one of the most colorful as well as eminent men of his age. After the war, MacArthur returned to West Point for 3 years as superintendent. In 1930, he was promoted to 4-star general and named Army Chief of Staff. Upon his retirement at the end of 5 years, he was decorated by the Secretary of War. This would be for most men a time to rest, but General MacArthur became a Field Marshal in the Philippine Army. It was from the Philippines that he escaped in a PT boat after the tragic fall of Corregidor in 1942. Ordered to command the war in the Pacific from Australia, he applied to it the strategic genius that make military historians rank him with Julius Caesar and Napoleon. Their exploits are known to us only by word. Those of General MacArthur are recorded for historians of the future in the documentation of the motion picture that followed his career almost from its inception. Among the most memorable and inspiring pictures of World War II are those of his return to the Philippines to redeem his promise to those left behind. I shall return. To those who met him, he said, "I'm a little late, but we finally came." It was in 1944 that he made his triumphal return to the scene of one of his and his country's bitterest humiliations. There were only 10 more months of the war to go then, but neither the General of the Army nor the prisoners he so joyfully released from their Japanese prisons could know that as they carried on the conventional form of warfare, the atom bomb was being made ready to bring it to an end. The greatest moment of a life filled with climax came to General MacArthur aboard the battleship Missouri in Tokyo Harbor. Japan surrendered to him as commander of the war in the Pacific. His bearing was formal but courteous to the vanquished enemy. Then in Japan, as Supreme Allied Occupation Commander, General MacArthur supervised the formation of a new government. He captivated the people. Warfare, this time in Korea, once more summoned him to duty that was to be the grimmest and most frustrating of his life. As Supreme Allied Commander, he again used daring strategy. But as he was sweeping toward seeming victory against Red Chinese hordes, orders from Washington halted him. Though he was praised by South Korean President Syngman Rhee and decorated by his own President Truman, he was recalled. New York gave General MacArthur the greatest welcome it had ever given a returning hero. General MacArthur's last historical performance was his appearance before a joint session of Congress. The record of his address there is one of the most impressive and most moving of any ever put on film to preserve the memory of a great man.
When I joined the Army, even before the turn of the century, it was the fulfillment of all my boyish hopes and dreams. The world has turned over many times since I took the oath on the plain at West Point, and the hopes and dreams have long since vanished. But I still remember the refrain of one of the most popular barrack ballads of that day, which proclaimed most proudly that old soldiers never die. They just fade away. And like the old soldier of that ballad, I now close my military career and just fade away. An old soldier who tried to do his duty as God gave him the light to see that duty. Goodbye.